right, so this is going to be series 1 on the story of me, my life, and some of the things that I went through growing up, my shortcomings that I faced. So we're going to start off in my childhood. That's episode 1 is going to be the childhood of me. A lot happened in my childhood that probably nobody really knows about. Both of my parents actually went to prison for a short period of time. My dad stayed in a lot longer than my mom. And so we actually ended up moving in with another family who is now, that is my family. Everybody in our families are together just because they took us in, they took care of us when we really needed it. And so we have this connection with that family that most people don't understand. And if you know us, you know what I'm talking about. But being with that family, I learned a lot. And before that family came in, we were extremely poor. We did not have a toilet. We didn't have a sink. We barely had running water. A lot of times what we would do to go to the bathroom was we would go into a trash can, and then we lived right next to the swamp, so we would throw it into the swamp. It was that bad. The house we lived in was really small, so we had to find ways to make things interesting. We had to find ways to be creative so that we could all have a lot of fun. And during that time, I learned a lot about people, how to get people to do the things that I wanted to do. Because a lot of times when you have a big family like I did, I had 4 siblings, and I always had friends and family over. So in order to get people to do the things that I wanted to do, I always had to be creative in how I approached it. So I learned to sell people on the ideas and the things that I wanted. And a lot of people growing up, people don't like that. A lot of people didn't see it as a gift. A lot of people told me that I was manipulative, that I was, it was such a bad thing, everybody always said. And I never really understood why, because it wasn't that I was trying to hurt anybody or that I was leading anybody in the wrong direction. I just wanted them to do what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do was almost never a bad thing. It was always just like experimental or trying new things and doing new things, and it wasn't ever like out there like what you're probably thinking right now. It was stuff like we would want to build ramps or for bikes and skateboards and all that stuff like that. And I could get them to try out the ramps that I wanted to build just by selling them on the idea in the first place. So as I was growing up, I got a lot of flack for being able to do what I did, but I continued to do it. And my mom never really paid attention to when people, because they would tell her all the time too, and she would still support me and didn't really see it as a bad thing. But because she was working so hard, she was working 3, 4, 5 jobs at a time. And because of that, she wasn't around for everything. So when she would come around, she would hear about our whole day. And we're getting ready to go to bed, and we're just now seeing her. So we'd tell her about our whole day, and she would have to kind of coach us at that moment, now that the whole day's over, for the next day. And it worked out that way. It actually wasn't so bad. We didn't get into too much trouble. And then eventually, like I said, my mom and dad, they went away, and we moved in with my best friend, and from that point forward, I pretty much lived with them from that point forward, in and out with them. And then when my mom came back, she would live with them sometimes when we didn't have anywhere to stay. So that would be episode 1. I'm going to try and keep these pretty short. Remember to buy my book, and also I got clothing, some shirts and stuff like that on my website, Titus Walker Success. Please like, comment, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys watching and appreciate you following. Comment if you have any questions about this part of the story, because there's a lot to this, but I kind of just went down the basics just to give you a little bit of background. I appreciate you guys watching. Check out the next video.